And this is what we were working on right before we left.
That was an item for later in the agenda, Robbie.
Oh.
You have taken the agenda like so many eggs and whipped it together, and now I'm afraid you're going to make an agenda omelet. And it might be delicious, but it's not what was on the menu.
It will be delicious.
It's not what was on the menu. You know what's on the menu?
No.
Your lunch that you haven't eaten. It's in a bowl over there. So I'm just saying, Robbie's hungry. Robbie's not quite in her right state of caloric load.
No. It's not that I'm hungry. It's that my hands were a little bit shaky because if I don't eat, I sometimes get shaky hands.
Do you know what it's called when you've eaten so little that you have shaky hands? Do you know that there's a word for that?
Is there?
Yeah, it's called hungry. Yeah. I mean, maybe you haven't learned that yet, but when your body lacks the fuel to hold your hand safely in place while you paint, it's because you are lacking certain nutrients and food-based fuel sources that you need for requisite stillness.
All right. I'm sorry.
Okay. You don't have to apologize. I like you when you're hungry. I don't know what that means. Okay. Wonder Undercover, Chapter 13.
Oh.
I hope it's Chapter 13. It might be Chapter 12. I didn't know and I didn't have time to really find out.
I think it's Chapter 13.
Okay, I thought so too. Oh, we have Henry Steele Commander over there that I could threaten you guys with. If you fail to send us your research, it's starting to get dire, guys. It's Thursday.
Yeah.
Your research is due in the next 8 hours.
Yeah.
And how much have you gotten, Robbie?
I've gotten 0.
Remember,
I mean, imaginary creatures. I feel like we gave you a fluff
the
question.
biggest category there is.
Yeah.
Okay? Basically, there is everything that exists, which is a finite set.
Yes.
And then there's everything else, which is an infinite set. We gave you an infinite number of possibilities. The only requirement is that the thing does not exist. Come on, you guys. All right. June 11, 2020. Swats it, yo.
Swats it, yo.
Swats it, yo. Okay. Matthew asks Robbie to play P.O. theme song, and she plays a different one. That's what happens every single day.
We haven't heard this one in a long time.
I'm in Matthew's fan club.
It's so sad, that song.
It's sad.
Why do you think Drew is so sad about being in my fan club? Or is he moved? Is it that he's sad, or that he is so emotionally invested in being in my fan club that he almost doesn't even know how to stand up straight? It makes him lean to the side. It makes him think of his days by the river as a child.
I feel like it's a very
it's heartfelt.
I feel like it's a very heartfelt
It's
song.
kind of like singing,
it's full of love,
like your school's fight song. If your school's fight song was very sad and slow. Generally, school's fight songs.
It's not sad. Do you think it's sad?
It has sort of
It has a dirge tone.
like.
You're right.
I'm just saying. I'm curious to know what Drew is thinking.
He's just sort
Robbie,
of. What is the word
brace
when you?
yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Brace yourself.
Wait. Water.
You did a good job, Robbie. I was hoping you'd do something exactly like that. I appreciate it. I didn't have to ask you.
Resigned. That's the word that I wanted.
Oh, he's resigned.
He's resigned to being in your fan club.
You mean kind of like, I can't do any better than this, and so I'm going to accept my role as a member of Matthew's fan club. I'd like to be in Robbie's fan club, but it's full.
Not cool enough to be in my fan club.
Oh, is that what it is? Drew is so cool.
Drew is so much cooler than me.
Can you reach beyond yonder and get a glass of water?
There used to be a TV show on when we were kids. Yeah. I think it was Electric Company. Do you remember that?
3, 2, 1.
No, that's 3, 2, 1 Contact.
Oh. How did the Electric Company
And it went,
theme song
hey you guys.
Hey you guys.
That's how I was trying to say water.
Da-na-na-na-na. Give us any chance, we'll take it. Give us any rule, we'll break it.
Is that how it went?
I think that's Laverne and Shirley.
No.
That's Schlemiel. Wait, which one is give us any chance, we'll break it. Give us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. And we'll do it our way, yes, our way. Making our dreams come true. And we'll do it. Who is that? Jennifer, do you remember?
I don't remember that.
We'll do it our way. TV seems... Oh, this is going to bother me crazy. Robbie, run the show.
Nobody actually cares because none of these people have heard of that
song. And we'll do it our way, TV theme song.
But it seems like breaking all the rules is not something you should encourage children to do.
Stop. You're confusing my phone. Oh, Robbie, you dictated all sorts of things that I didn't want my phone to hear.
Can I tell you something funny? I once accidentally sent a text that was... me yelling at Jasper.
Oh, it was Laverne and Shirley.
Oh,
yeah.
Good for you.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
I accidentally was yelling at Jasper that he wasn't allowed to go outside without me. And the text was something like, no, you can't go outside without me. No, you always have to listen. You are not a good... I don't think I said you're not a good boy, but it's something I said some not super nice things. And then it accidentally sent...
To who?
To our neighbors and friends.
Oh, no. Did they think that you were scolding them?
No, I think I caught it soon enough that they never were mistaken.
Wait. Simon says, stop the singing. There was nothing but loveliness about the singing, Simon.
Simon might just not enjoy singing, like Bob does not enjoy singing.
When you tell me to stop singing, Simon, it makes me want to sing more. And that's all I got right now. All right, let's see. Robbie...
Yes, Robbie updates you on the progress of her scary fish with star-shaped teeth.
She did that already.
Well, I didn't really do it. Can we have a little for the people who are new?
Let's do it again.
There we are. That's as far as I got. I added some little dinosaur horns.
And some depth and some whiteness.
And while Matthew reads, contrast. I'm going to try to finish this off.
Okay, fair enough. How about this? Brace yourself.
Robbie's great big space pencil is missing. It is not. Did you? What did you do with my pencil?
Oh no, it's not where it's supposed to be. Am I the only one who thinks that Robbie was getting a little too attached to the great big space pencil?
I love
and
my
that
great big space
maybe
pencil.
she could stand to spend a little time away from her great big space pencil, and that might be good for all of us.
Maybe I'm getting a little too attached to Matthew, and I need to spend a little time away from my Matthew, and maybe that would be good for all of us.
My concern is that space was last week's theme, and yet you keep subconsciously urging me to put the space pencil on the agenda. And I think the space pencil is causing agenda confusion and is not a positive thing for the future of the show.
My space pencil.
But there's nothing on the agenda that suggests that. I merely observed that your pencil was missing, and I put it on the agenda because I knew it's something you want to know. You should be thanking me for giving you this important information, Robbie Bear. Anyway, Robbie's great big space pencil is missing. I don't know how we're going to deal with this problem. Matthew reads chapter 13. Oh, what's happening?
Matthew reads chapter 13 of Wonder Undercover.
Yes, I am. Will do now, friends. Facts. Where is it?
Oh, boy. I don't know.
Robbie, are you just so sad about your pencil that you don't know how to go on?
I've lost all will to do anything.
It was the closing song for Laverne and Shirley, says Jennifer Kafka Smith. So, Schlemiel, Schlemazel, it doesn't also at the beginning, Jennifer?
I thought that was just something that they sang. I didn't know that was an actual...
Give us any chance, we'll make it.
Oh my God,
if your name is Simon, I'm trying to break it.
Wait, have we had water yet?
Yeah, we drank it. I mean,
what is this water?
It's the water you didn't drink because you were distracted and not doing your civic duty of drinking water to inspire our friends here on the Robbie and Matthew show, part 2, second half. All right, friends, it is time for the Wonder Scouts camping trip. I urge you.
Oh, I also like this chapter.
Oh, I'm sorry. But,
that's a long one.
It is, you guys. I'm guessing we're not going to get through all 31 pages of it.
Oh, my God.
But I will try to get to 35 or so. I'm going to try to find a good breaking point.
Shafi likes your singing, Matthew.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I am not going to let one man's opinion, Simon, define me as a singer or not. Whoa, this chapter is 29 pages. E is following along. E has his book in hand. Wow. All right, fair enough. Friends, roughing it.
Oh, I'm supposed to be painting.
Oh, I can do this. I can do both things.
Yeah.
I can paint. I can read in advance. All right, you guys, believe in me. Wish me luck. All right? Chapter 13, Roughing It. At first recess, Emily and I walk over to Milton's bench, where he is waiting with a question. If it wasn't Veronica herself, then who would want to steal her file? My well-oiled detective mind leaps instantly to the likeliest explanation. I bet it was Veronica's cousins. What were their names? Upchurch and Wendell. Yes, sneaky names if you ask me. I bet they are identical twins with bald heads and boring lives in extremely itchy bathrobes who are jealous of Veronica and don't want her to be included in the Julia Wonder exhibit because the details of her fabulous life would make them look so dull and unaccomplished. I'm excited. That has to be the solution. But Milton is shaking his head. You are basing that on nothing. You are making that up. Milton is missing the point. A detective must consider every possibility. Maybe I am, but it makes perfect sense. Have you come up with a better explanation? Milton looks like he'd rather eat a plate of baby porcupines than admit defeat. but then he yanks on his earlobe and says, "Not yet." "What about the chief historian?" Emily suggests. "I like this theory. I love nothing more than to put the chief of absolutely no one behind bars." "He's clearly hiding something," says Milton. "But what would his motive be?" "Perhaps he didn't want Veronica to be included in the exhibition," I say, "because he's worried her bold deeds and accomplishments would overshadow Julia herself." "Maybe, but why would he pretend there was a break-in?" says Milton. "Why wouldn't he just throw away the files and be done with it?" Milton makes an excellent point. "I only say this to consider every possibility," says Emily with a worried look. "But there was one other person in that photo with Veronica." "Mr. Shine? That's impossible," I say, because it absolutely is. "The best criminals always make you think so," says Milton. After school, Dad drives us to the base of Boo Mountain, where the Wonder Scouts are gathering for the camping trip. I have Dad's old sleeping bag and my flint and my stuffed chicken. Homer, who I've never slept without and never will. As we hike around Stone Lake, Veronica tells us about the various plants and rocks and butterflies we see along the way. I surprise myself by already knowing the names of some of the trees. Hilly is walking as far ahead of me as she can. As I try to catch up with her, she moves faster and farther down the path, as if an invisible force field is keeping us apart. Veronica shows us how to bait our hooks and cast our lines. I even catch a trout, but don't enjoy it as much as I'd like to. She shows us how to cut the fish into fillets, which is kind of gross, but also kind of fascinating. "Now we need to find some way to cook it," she says with a playful gleam in her eye. "Who would like to challenge for the fire starter badge?" 5 of us raise our hands, including Hilly, who has tried during the past 2 camping trips to win this badge with the good old rubbing 2 sticks together as fast as you can technique, but hasn't been able to make it work. Now she has a flint and is excited to try again. The other scouts form a circle and watch as the 5 of us gather our little piles of dry pine needles and prepare for the challenge. "Ready, set, go," says Veronica. We spring into action. I look to my right. Hilly has made a few good sparks but hasn't been able to get her pine needles to catch fire. Despite our fight, I'm rooting for her. Tracy Dublinger leans over to get a good look at what Hilly is up to and spills her hot chocolate all over Hilly's hand and flint. "Hey," says Hilly. "Oops, sorry," says Tracy, with a face that says, "That was fun and I'd do it again." "Veronica, can we please stop so I can dry my flint?" Hilly is desperate. She knows a sticky wet flint is not going to make any sparks. "I'm sorry," says Veronica, with the perfect blend of kindness and firmness, "but accidents happen. Surprises pop up. A scout must be resourceful, come what may." Hilly looks as crushed as a cantaloupe that fell off a roof. 90 seconds left," says Veronica. "Here," I say, handing my flint to Hilly. "What? Why?" "Take it," I say. "I've got these." I pick up 2 sticks to show her that it's no big deal. Hilly's face melts from anger into gratitude, and my heart bobs up like a leapy old bath toy that suddenly remembered how to float. "Thank you," she says. "Let's do this," I say, smiling. I grab my 2 sticks and rub them together like the string and bow of an excitable fiddler. But there are no sparks. 60 seconds left, says Veronica. "Got it," says Megan Lacey, as her pine needles leap into flame. I'm getting exactly nowhere with my sticks, so I grab 2 others, but these are even soggier than the first 2. "Got it," says Henrietta Bork. "Excellent job, Henrietta," says Veronica. 30 seconds left. Hilly is still working away with my flint, making sparks that have not yet caught, and I wonder if I've made a terrible mistake. It would be such a waste if neither of us earned the badge. I start to panic. If I don't get this badge today, I won't be able to try again until the next camping trip, which might not be for a month or more. I'm feeling very sorry for myself when I remember Annabelle Adams' Girl Detective, Volume 26, Roughing It, in which the 5-star hotel where Annabelle is doing her stakeout is evacuated because of a faulty sprinkler system, and Annabelle and the other guests have to spend all night in the jungle instead. Everything is so damp that no one can start a fire in the usual way, So Annabelle goes about it in a very unusual way. Hoping against hope, I reach into my sweatshirt pocket, and yes, the walkie-talkie batteries are still there. Hilly, may I have a piece of gum, I ask, not wanting to waste even a fraction of a second on pleasantries. It's an emergency. Without skipping a beat, Hilly slides a pack of gum out of her pocket and tosses me a stick, which I catch with one hand and unwrap in a single deft move. 10 seconds, says Veronica. Using the metallic part of the wrapper to connect the battery's terminals, I create a spark, which lands on the pine needles and causes them to smolder. I blow lightly on the embers, and enthusiastic flame appears. Got it! It is the most exciting moment in my whole entire life. Very nice, Moxie, says Veronica. What a fascinating technique. Thanks, I say. I just invented it on the spot. As the words come out of my mouth, I have a slightly uncomfortable feeling, like I just put on someone else's shirt and it doesn't quite fit. Got it, says Hilly, her eyes bright with excitement. I smile at Hilly and she smiles at me, and now this is the most exciting moment in my whole entire life. Poor Bonnie Groff does not seem to have gotten it. She is rubbing her two sticks together so slowly and gently that I'm surprised they haven't fallen asleep. Time's up, says Veronica. It seems we have 4 new fire starters in our midst. And Veronica pauses and looks at me with eyes so kind and loving that I almost fall over. I've decided to award Moxie the badge for lending... I've decided to award Moxie the friendsmanship badge for lending Hilly her flint in the middle of a challenge. I consider it an act of true friendship. Like opposite ends of a seesaw, Tracy's mouth drops into a wretched frown as mine rises into a delighted grin. That's a twofer, says Veronica, handing us our badges. 2 badges and 1 challenge. I've never seen that before. You keep surprising me, Moxie. I'm not sure which is glowing brighter, my heart or the pile of burning twigs at my feet. Next, Veronica shows us how to cook the trout, which we eat with bread and beans. As I promised, tonight we'll have an iron gut challenge, a chance to touch and taste and eat something truly unusual. There's a ripple of excitement. Opportunities for an iron gut challenge are rare. Everyone is chatting about what this one might be. Once it was a chocolate-covered grasshopper. Once it was the stomach of a cow. And tonight's challenge is trout eyeballs. There's an ooh and a ugh, and then a bunch of boasting. Who's going to try? Of course, the Dubliners will not try. They got their iron gut badges ages ago. I will, says Hilly, who already has hers too, but apparently enjoys punishing her stomach. How about you, Moxie? She asks with a wink. Of course, I never would and never will eat the eyeball of a fish. Nope, I say. No way and no thank you, not for a badge or 20 badges, not for $20. Oh, come on, Hilly pleads, plucking an eyeball from the plate Veronica is holding. Give it a try, Moxie, says Veronica, and something about the way she is smiling makes it actually impossible not to grab a tiny eyeball and place it on my plate, where it will sit until the end of time, uneaten and unloved. Hilly pops an eyeball into her mouth and gives a few chews. What does it taste like? Not much. Just like kind of chewing on rubber. No big deal. I'm glad you like it, says Veronica. Perhaps we need to make a super iron gut badge for our true pioneers. I bristle at the praise I am not getting, but I have my standards and I intend to stick to them. We sit there for a while, eating our meal and watching as the sky glows black. Thanks again for lending me your flint, says Hilly. Her words say thanks, and her eyes say, sorry. You didn't have to do that. I think about it for a minute, but she's not quite right. We were out of balance, and I needed to set things right. Actually, I think I did. Well, we're even now, she says with a smile. My body sighs in pure relief. Now that Hilly and I are friends again, my appetite returns with a fury. Knowing that I am eating a trout I caught by myself and cooked over a fire I started by myself makes my dinner taste all the more delicious. Moxie? Hilly has a look on her face. I motion that I am right in the middle of a bite and that I will answer her as soon as I'm done. Moxie! I finish chewing and carefully swallow, wanting to make very clear for everyone present that I will not be rushed and prefer not to talk with my mouth full. Now, what is it? Hilly gives me a pitying sort of look. You just ate the eyeball. Excuse me? Because it sounds like Hilly said I just ate the eyeball, which, as I made clear, I would never do. Hilly points to the part of my plate where the eyeball once was. It's notably gone. What the? You scooped it up with your last bite of beans. I tried to tell you, but I'm trying to figure out the fastest way to turn the contents of my stomach inside out when Veronica walks over and hands me the Iron Gut badge. And the combination of her proud look and Tracy Dublinger's somewhat worried expression makes me decide that perhaps the eyeball should stay where it is, after all. We roast s'mores, we sing campfire songs, which gives me an idea. If a Wonder Scout were to write her own song and sing it for the other Scouts, could it count for the artist badge? Veronica makes a thinking face. I guess it would depend on the song. Have you written one? Well, not just me, I say, glancing over at Hilly. Should we? Hilly's eyes light up, and I don't have to finish my sentence. She knows exactly what I'm asking. We stand a few paces apart, facing each other. Moxie and Hilly are proud to present the Song of 7 Languages. Uno, dos, tres, I sing, shuffling to the right. Cuatro, cinco, seis, Hilly responds, sliding to the left. Siete, I kick my right leg high. Ocho, she kicks her left leg even higher. Nueve, I shake my booty. Diez, Hilly shakes her booty too. We plow through the other languages, each one with its own set of dance moves. By the time we finish, we're laughing so hard we fall down. And so is everyone else. The Scouts cheer. Even the Dublingers seem to halfway enjoy it. Another twofer, says Veronica. Amazing. She hands Hilly the artist and the polyglot badges, and the artist badge to me. I'd like to challenge for my polyglot, says Megan Lacey, perhaps inspired by our song. Me too, says Henrietta, suddenly more animated than I've ever seen her before. I'm glad you're all so excited about what you're learning, says Veronica, but I think we're done for tonight. How about we have some additional badge challenges at Monday's meeting? We cheer in agreement that this sounds like a very good plan. Tell us a story, Hilly begs. It's getting pretty late, says Veronica. It's early, I insist. Tell us, pleads Henrietta. Tell us how you got your compass, says Hilly. It's my favorite story, she whispers to me. All right, says Veronica, smiling. Just one story, and then to bed. Veronica takes a long sip of cocoa and settles back into her empty chair. She looks around the circle, meeting each of our eyes across the flickering fire. A long time ago, I was in Rome, Italy, hoping to see Michelangelo's frescoes on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. I was walking down a busy street in the Trastevere neighborhood when a man rushed up, handed me an envelope, and disappeared. Inside, I found a map that led me to a secret alcove inside of St. Peter's Basilica, the largest church in the world. By pulling a lever behind a statue, I found a secret passageway. I crept through a long series of crooked, mossy corridors and eventually reached an underground chapel. How did you see? I have to know. A high-powered flashlight. A Wonder Scout is always prepared. I find myself marveling all over again as Veronica continues. A 127-year-old monk was standing in the shadows. He said he'd been waiting for me for 80 years. 80 years? It seems impossible. He said he'd been expecting me. But you weren't even born when he started waiting. That's what makes it so amazing, says Hilly. Tell us what happened next. He asked me to answer a riddle. What was it? Veronica pauses as we all lean toward her. What's worth more than gold and costs less than dust? Hilly is so excited she can hardly contain herself. Everyone is looking at everyone else, trying not to burst. I realize I'm the only one who doesn't know the answer. Well, Moxie, says Veronica. I think. I'm pretty sure platinum is worth more than gold, but it's definitely on the pricey side. I try to think of anything that costs less than dust, which, the last time I checked, is entirely free. And so I'm forced to say 3 of my least favorite words. I don't know. Veronica smiles her smile of endless wisdom. Experience. and my brain kicks in for not thinking of it myself. That's from the Credo, says Henrietta. Suddenly I remember. Experience is your greatest treasure. Yes, says Veronica. Without experience, you can't grow. You can't learn from your mistakes. You can't build on your discoveries. You can't... Oh, but you get experience every moment of your life, for free, wherever you go, whether you want it or not. Each and every one of you is a great big pile of experience that gets taller and mightier every minute. I imagine my pile. It is extremely impressive. So, what happened next? Asks Hilly, who knows the answer but wants to hear it anyway. The monk smiled and handed me a little wooden chest. The wood was so old it started to crumble when I lifted the lid. Inside, on a tiny golden pedestal, I found this. Veronica holds up her compass for all of us to see. It glitters fantastically in the light of the campfire. It's ancient and beautiful. The old man told me I had a strong inner compass that would lead me exactly where I needed to go. And he told me to always remember that I am capable of astonishing things. That's from the Credo too, says Henrietta. Veronica smiles. At that moment, I knew I had to keep adventuring and that I had to pass the old man's wisdom along to other girls. Then what happened? Hilly can't even stand the slightest pause. The old monk told me it was time for me to go because he needed to take a nap. A nap? He was extremely tired. He showed me a door to another tunnel, which led to a hidden door in the wine cellar of a nearby restaurant where I had an excellent plate of cannoli. What's that? A crunchy Italian pastry stuffed with sweet, creamy filling, says Hilly. Did you bring us some, Veronica? As a matter of fact, I just whipped up a fresh batch this afternoon, says Veronica, pulling out a container with 12 little pastries inside. As we munch our cannoli, my mind does cannonballs into a swimming pool of delight. Once again, Veronica's story is as amazing as anything I've ever read in Annabelle Adams. Time for bed, says Veronica. All of us groan our disappointment. We never want this night to end. By the time we crawl into our sleeping bags, it's so dark it could be floating in the distant void of outer space. So dark I don't know for sure whether I still have legs and arms and hands. I would turn on my flashlight, but I can't find my flashlight, and I can't find Homer. The only sensation is the pulsing of crickets. It's so dark I don't even know if I'm still alive. Hilly? Yeah? My heart flutters with relief just knowing she's there. Nothing. What is it, Moxie? Nothing. Okay. But I need something more than hearing her voice in the dark. I need to know she's actually there. I need to know for sure. And so I say 2 words I've never said out loud. I'm scared. I brace for laughter or a snort or a scoff that says 4th graders aren't supposed to be afraid of the dark. But Hilly says nothing at all. She reaches over and finds my hand and gives it a squeeze. And instead of letting go, she holds on. Eventually, the squeeze lets up and her breathing gets slower and she drifts off to sleep. A minute later, I'm riding on an iridescent eagle through the buttermoon sky. And I think we'll stop there. We only have a few pages left, but it is time to end, and I want you guys to have a sec. Oh no, there's only 2 pages. We're going to finish it. We're going to finish it. I wake up when the sun comes up. There is Homer, right where he's supposed to be. Hilly is still asleep, so I crawl out of the tent and help Veronica start the fire and mix some batter and make some pancakes. The morning is crisp and clear. I'm the only scout awake so far. That was quite a performance last night, says Veronica. Something tells me you might have done a little practice. I glow like a radioactive frog that just climbed out of a vat of toxic goo and is getting ready to turn into a superhero. I'm very glad you joined us, Moxie. I'm very glad you traveled the world learning remarkable things. You're the reason I did it. Me? Well, you and the rest of the scouts. Encthe uye. Ontde etle, osde pancakes pay earnbay, she says, meaning don't let those pancakes burn. Veronica says, nodding at the pancakes, which are in fact starting to get a little crispy. One by one, the other scouts emerge with their morning hair and faces, slightly rumpled and not quite entirely awake. As we eat breakfast, Henrietta is a little less nervous. The Dublingers are a little less mean. All of us are maybe just a little bit more like ourselves. That was a long chapter, but I'm glad we read it all.
all 30 pages?
I did, friend.
Wow.
I didn't want to leave you hanging over the weekend.
No.
If, in fact, we spend all day tomorrow reading your research, hint, 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 hint.
Yeah.
Robbie, show us what you've been up to, all right? I'd like
Okay.
to know what you have been up to while... Oh!
I forgot to take a picture of
The
it. in between.
transformation. All right, let's see it. What have you been up to, Robbie Bear? What? If you haven't seen that painting by Edvard Munch, The Scream. What? Oh, cool, Robbie. I love it.
So I added some lines in his mouth to make it darker. So if you can look
He's
really
scary.
close,
He's scary, though.
those lines get really close in the back,
Yeah.
so it makes it look like it's getting deeper.
Like going into a tunnel.
You know, I ran into some trouble. See the eye over here? Oops, over here. That eye.
Yes. It got a little...
The paint was still a little wet.
So are you going to paint over that with white, or is it too late?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
could
I can
fix it.
probably fix that.
Because
But
that's
it's
one thing I
all
wanted
wet.
to say is the pupils seem a little wide to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They look more like slashes and less
okay.
like pupils.
Okay. So I will fix those.
This one is good because it's wide in the middle, but then it
Yeah.
tapers. These
Okay.
don't taper. They look like stripes.
All right.
All right. Sorry. That's what Matthew does. He gives his honest
that's
opinion.
good.
Yeah.
So then I have some fish, which I'm gonna put some color on later, but I just haven't put it on yet. See those little fish? And it's 2:02.
Oh, but you know what? El Puppy did not send us any jokes today, and so we are not beholden to answer them. We're going to let you go. We know you have things to do, places to be, research to compile.
Research to compile.
Everett said
drawings.
he sent us his research, but it's imaginary.
That's a good one,
It's a good one.
Everett.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I think that's a good one.
All right.
Since they're
Wow,
imaginary,
we are getting
can't
the
even
clamp
see
down.
them.
Everybody's telling us what time it is. They
All right,
must be
all right.
ready to go. All right, friends. We are going to end the stream. Here we go.
Bye.
Are you sure you want to end the stream, Robbie?
We
Are you
do.
sure? Are you
Goodbye.
sure?
I'm
Are you
sure.
sure?